Everybody, welcome to Creative Chess channel. My name is Novikova and I am a women FIDE master. Today I'm going to tell me about the game which was played nearly a month ago on the chess site. I was playing against Russian Grandmaster Roman Ovetchkin and I managed to win this game. So let's have a look how it happened. So I played e4. My opponent played c6. It's the Caro Kann defense. I have changed the variants which I play for against Caro Kann defense. Initially I played the Panov attack. Now I changed for a quiet move, bishop to d3. It looks quite simple, but it has some nice ideas. So c3. So the main move here, knight f6, bishop f4. Yeah, we are following the main line. And here there are two retreats for the black's queen, either to c8 or to d7. My opponent chose to d7, e6, knight f3, bishop to d6, and here I played knight to e5. My opponent goes to c7, it's a little pin. And here, after some exchanges, black decided not to capture the pawn on e5, not to pin their knight, and played calmly knight to d7. And of course, I played f4, protecting my pawn on e5. But unfortunately, in such variations, sometimes I can lose my knight squared bishop. What happened in this game too. Actually, I have black squared bishop, he has white squared bishop, and the position is quite equal here. But I have some attack in mind. It's playing h3, then g4, and maybe to attack the black king. But now I just decided to play bishop to e3 to protect the pawn on g2. My opponent decided to bring his rook on the c8, and after some exchanges played e5. Okay, now we are going to realize some attack, me on the king side and my opponent on the queen side. Okay, this doubling rooks on c file looks quite strange for me, but I think Grandmaster knows better. But okay, it seemed quite strange because my bishop is in the center, is cementing the position, and for me it was quite strange, these two rooks. But okay. Meanwhile, I am playing king to g3. I want to play rook f1 and then f5. And so it happened in the game. He's attacking my rook, so rook to f2. And after exchanges, now nobody can stop me from playing f5. And so I did play, but actually this move wasn't quite good. So let's have a look what black might have played in the game to get quite a nice position. Actually it wasn't played because this move isn't very noticeable. Probably that's why my opponent didn't sport it. But actually here the main and the best move for black was to capture my pawn on f5 and to attack my pawn on h3. So let's have a look what might have been the best variant for black. Why to play rook to h6? Now I will show you. For example, rook h6. What to play for white? It's quite difficult, by the way. I don't have lots of plans here, but okay. Let's try, for example, rook to f4. But in this case, small tactics. Yeah, it turned out that here black can capture the pawn on f5, because if rook takes, then the queen goes to g6, attacking both the rook and the king. And for example, after king to f4, my opponent can easily play rook to h4, and actually white's position is completely lost here. So it was one of the variants which might have happened in the game. But okay, so let's return. Can white play some better moves after e captures to f? So let's return everything back. So again, I remind you that this didn't happen in the game, but black might have played this move. So the pawn captures on f5. Of course, white are forced to play to capture on f5, rook h6, and the best here is to play king to h2, because after bishop to f5, for example, there would be no check on g6. So, but in this case, black can play rook to h5, attacking the pawn on f5, and the best for white here is to play queen to e2, offering their exchanges, because white's position is quite difficult. And for example, black rook can go to b1 and then all these attacks, so better to exchange the queens. Of course, black capture pawn on f5, but actually this position is difficult for white, but he has white square bishop, I have black square bishop, so I have some chances. But my opponent played a rook to b1, and I sacrificed an exchange on e4, but it wasn't very good. The better way was to play f6. f6 wasn't played in the game, but it was the best move. Why? If, for example, black plays g6, of course, tactics again, and then queen to h6 and mate in one. Okay, so, but of course, after f6, black wasn't obliged to play g6, but they could play bishop to g6, and there would be such nice opposition I like for white. But okay, actually I sacrificed, instead of playing f6, I decided to sacrifice my rook. It seemed to me a great idea. Actually it wasn't, but okay. I played queen to g5, and probably my opponent was so distracted by this move that in this position he decided to play f6. Actually it loses immediately, and after capturing on f6, now there is a threat of mate on g7. He played rook to c8 to protect, and after capturing the pawn on e6, the black's position is completely lost, because goes, for example, f7 and queen to g7 with mate. Okay, that's the game. The game was very interesting, and actually I managed to win a Grandmaster. It's an honor for me. And that's all for today. Thanks for watching me. Subscribe to my channel. See you. Bye-bye.
Fire when the strong hits you.
That's it, friend?